Hi, I'm Andrew Phung. I'm an actor, comedian, writer, host, executive producer, and I am so honored to be a part of Degrassi, Whatever It Takes, premiering at TIFF. Degrassi is a show I loved growing up, and there's a doc premiering at TIFF called Degrassi, Whatever It Takes. And I'm so fortunate to have been interviewed for the documentary. I was not on Degrassi. I wish I was. But I am what they call a super fan, and I got to just talk about my love of Degrassi and appreciation and knowledge of it. And Lisa Rideout, the director, has done such a great job of pulling together the stories of Degrassi and highlighting its cultural significance, and really telling the truthful story of this show that shouldn't have existed. It shouldn't have existed to do storylines about teen pregnancy and AIDS and suicide and uh, in the 80s and then again in the 2000s is pretty incredible. And it was the first time I saw myself on the screen. And so, yeah, I'm so proud to be a part of this documentary. I'm so proud that we're celebrating it in Toronto at the Toronto International Film Festival. Yeah, it's I cried like 4 times watching it. It's such a lovely nostalgic watch, that highlights how important the show was and how it could have only been done in Canada. I think there's some filmmakers who have like a love and there's like talking about 50 years and they could talk about the 50 years. For me, the 50 years for me, what's exciting is the 50 upcoming years, because for me, it feels like TIFF, um, right now is trying to do a better job of reflecting, um, BIPOC storytellers, BIPOC stories. I'm so proud of Sasha Lee Henry with her feature coming into TIFF and premiering here. And so seeing like creators that are going through the Canadian system that are being able to tell their stories. We were talking about our friend Preeti Toral has a short that she's trying to turn into a TV show. It's so cool to see my friends, my peers who are creating things, because it felt like so long we were not included in that. So now when I see 50, I'm like, well, what's the next 50 look like? And I think we're going to be a part of that 50. And so that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited for people that look like me or have stories that kind of resemble mine that are going to be a part of this. When I introduce myself, because the multi-hyphen, I usually say actor, improviser, comedian, host, writer, some version of that. And I usually, out of the 5, I'll try to boil it down to 3 based on the person I'm meeting. So if I'm meeting with like a production company, I'll try to pick 3 things. If I'm meeting with someone from the general public, like just, that kind of stuff, or like a conference, I pick 2 or 3 things that people would know me from. But it is quite difficult because like in any given year, I have so many different projects. Like unscripted hosting. I do a lot of live hosting. I act. That's like what people know me for, but I also write. I executive produce. So it is hard, but it is a byproduct of trying to be a creator in Canada. You have to do it all. And so for me, it's like I know how to cut my own stuff. I know how to write. Like you have to be able to do all those things. Um, so that's how I introduce myself. I just kind of pick 3 things that I'm feeling that day. I fell in love with acting when I was 16 years old doing improv comedy. It is so freeing because when you grow up as a teenager, there's these rules that you have to follow, right? But even within that, even within like being an Asian child, there was like these rules of like you have to be these certain jobs or you have to fit this certain mold. But acting and improv allowed me to be anything I wanted to be, and so I think that's what I love so much. I love acting and then hosting. Um, I love working with live audiences. I love spontaneity. I love creating things with an audience, and then I love writing and producing. And that's something I've loved more and more because you get to shape and build something. You get to create it, right? So yeah, I love all of it. But yeah, acting is my first love. Yeah. In my 20s, I did improv as like a hobby. Like I did improv Friday, Saturday night improv was like a hobby. It was something I did. I loved it, but it wasn't the job. I had a job. And then right when I was 27, 28, I was like, oh, I booked this TV show. Oh, I'm hosting these events. Wait, how much am I making from this? wait a second, that's almost as much as I'm making at a job. And so really it was building up the confidence to believe that I could take that step, because when you go the life of a freelancer, it's scary. 1 month, you're rolling in some money. You made a few $1,000s. You're feeling good. Next month, oh, I owe money next month. Right? Wow, that's rough. That's rough. So, I took it later in life when I felt like I was ready to make that jump, and I'm actually really thankful I did, because I think if I had made that jump younger, I would have been scared and gone back into the 9 to 5 path sooner. My tolerance of failure would have been much less. But because I went a little bit later, I believed in myself more, and I was willing to have those rough months because I knew I could dig myself out. I believed in myself. I could place that bet on myself, and I placed it later when I had a little bit more confidence in who I was. And that's why I tell young creators, like, I have students that I taught improv to in my previous career. I taught a lot of improv comedy in schools and theater companies. They like quit acting at like 21. And in my mind, I'm like, that's such a shame, because 21 is really when you start even having any sense of who you are. Like, there's people who are 40 that are just like, I just know who I am now. Turning 30, 30 is the new 20, right? And so I just think that, like, arts, the art, the arts is a career journey. It's a journey that you have to like let grow and happen. And that's why, like, one of my favorites is Samuel L. Jackson didn't break until he was like 50, right? And I'm like, oh wow. And I was like, he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and he didn't break until he was 50, right? And there's all those times he probably wanted to quit, but he didn't do it because he believed in himself. And so, yeah, I stick with that. I stick with like the idea of like, do it when you feel like you're ready to do it. But the jump to Kim's Convenience, my first booking, was pretty overnight. Like, I was doing a show for the Edmonton Fringe Festival. I was doing a 2-person improv show. And look, I had been making a living as an actor, touring the Fringe, hosting, like I was making a good living. That summer I hosted the Calgary Stampede, did the Fringe. Like, I had a good summer of work. Very happy, great balance. And then Ins Choi came to see my Fringe show, and then literally 5 months later I booked Kim's Convenience. 3 months after that, I was on set working with Paul Sun-Young Lee, making Kim's Convenience. And so that jump was pretty wild. But I'll say this. That jump was only possible because I had done my 10,000 hours, so that they saw the best version of me. So that by that point, I was like confident in who I was. Because if I think I was younger, I wouldn't have had the same confidence in my comedic voice. By that point, I had failed enough to know what my comedic voice was. And that's what I'm so grateful for, that they saw that version of me. Well, look, I'd say to them, like, that feeling you're feeling right now is totally normal. Like, I feel that right now. Like, I was just texting with my agent, and I was like, hey, did you hear about this role? She's like, haven't heard anything. I was like, damn. I thought I booked that one. Like, I thought like I was a perfect fit for it. And then it's one of those things I have to like release into the world. It wasn't for me. It's for another actor. It's for another performer. Um, I think I say to them, do you love it? You love this? Because if you love it, then that's all that matters. Then these feelings will be secondary to the love you have of the craft. If you love it, love it. Some people love cooking. Some people love educating children. Some people love welding. Some people love plumbing. Like they love it, right? They could talk about it for hours. There's people. I have a friend who's an accountant. He's sick. He talks about numbers, balance sheets. I look at him like, you're sick, man, but you love it. So for me, I always go back. I'm like, do you love it? Because if you love it, then it's worth fighting over. It's worth having those feelings for. The moment where you don't have the love for it is the moment you're like, okay, you should reconsider. There's an NFL player I just read about today. He just signed a contract 10 years in, and he told the team, hey, man, I don't think I could ramp up and play this season. I'm retiring. And I was like, that's a bold thing. Like, we often hear what people who stick through things for too long, and they hate it or they hurt themselves doing it. Here it's like, I recognize I no longer love it. I'm going to walk away on my own terms, and I'll find my next love. And I think that's a really cool thing about this current generation, because we talked about it. 30 is the new 20, 40 is the new 30. And I love it because our parents, when they got a job, they did that job forever. But for Us, we're like doing new things. It feels like every 10 years that we're like, I found a new thing. And I see that with my friends. I'm like, for high school, I'm like, wait, you used to be this, but now you do this. Oh, yeah, this happened. Cool. That's awesome. That will extend your life because now you will not be waiting to retire. You'll actually be just living in the moment, loving the thing you do now. So, do you love it? Is what I always say to people who are like on the cusp of like quitting. Well, it's overwhelming in the best way. It's like, yeah, well, festivals as a whole, like, I love it because like a great festival builds connections. And that's the purpose of a festival. Festival is about celebration, building connections. So if you are a film lover, if you are a lover of that festival, you just get to go and enjoy it. If you're on the other side and you're part of it, you make the thing, then you get to go in and see your peers and celebrate it. That's what I love. I love, like, just before this, I had lunch with my good friend Anthony Q Farrell, who just finished Hate the Player for Paramount Plus Canada coming in January. And so he's making things and we finally connect, and walking down the street, I saw some creators. That's what's great on my end. And then for fans, they get to see the people making the stuff they consume. So I think it's such a lovely place of just like bringing people together. And what I cherish now more than ever after COVID is just like those physical connections. Nothing will replace that. Nothing will replace going to a movie, watching a movie, feeling the movie. I remember watching a movie uh, at the Calgary International Film Festival last year, and I'm so glad I watched it with a group of people, because if I had watched it at home, I would have been like, "Oh, this is a really good movie." But because I watched it with people, I got to do this. Oh, it was a horror, and like, and like laugh together and scream together. That's pretty cool because I don't think you do that same thing like in your bed by yourself, right? So, yeah, I love the physical human connection you have with people. I love that spectacle of it. Yeah, it's overwhelming in the best way. Real Asian Film Festival is one of the cultural institutions in this country for the Asian arts and filmmaking community. They're kicking off, they're doing a party this week, bringing together all the Asians, all the inspirations are coming together. I love it. Sandra Oh was there last year. I got to chat with her and just kind of like, I used to have to look at Sandra being like, you made a movie in the 90s. And I talked about it and I brought it up and she's like, oh, you remember that movie? And I'm like, yeah, I remember that movie. And it's important to celebrate film, but it's also important to celebrate our individual cultures in film, right? And so I love that. And I love that TIFF is a springboard for other organizations to pull together even like smaller communities to come together, just to check in, just to like see what other people are doing. And I love that. Because sometimes we feel in the arts we're making stuff by ourselves. We're making stuff alone. When you're at home editing, you're like takeout around you, like you haven't bathed in 3 days, right? It's like you feel like a little dirty, right? And you go out to the world, you're like, oh, I'm not the only dirty person. All of us are dirty. Like, just try to make stuff. But yeah, I think that's in relation is such a pillar in the arts community. They have such they have training programs, they have pitch programs, they screen films, they have awards programs for like legacy creators in the Asian community. So I just think it's so great. But like, it's not just Real Asians, real world. There's so many wonderful specific, culturally specific film festivals that I always encourage filmmakers to go after. Cause like, I get reached out a lot. They're like, oh, we're trying to get our movie in the TIFF. And I'm like, that's great. Make that your goal. But if your first film doesn't get in the TIFF, don't think that you failed. Reach out to these smaller film festivals because your movie's great. TIFF just doesn't have room. But like, keep making stuff and go to these festivals and build your portfolio. That's the arts. And for me, I always go back. I'm like, my first improv show was not going to be the one I would want people to see. Right? I want them to see the shows I develop and curate and create. So again, it's an artistic journey. Well, there's two ways. Are you a person who values success based on credits? If you value success based on credits, then it's like getting stuff made. Making anything in this country is a miracle. And I always say, like, whenever I meet a creator and we congratulate each other on making a thing, I'm like, congrats. It's a miracle. I think I wrote that to you in an email. I'm like, yo, you made this. It's a miracle. I always tell people that. And it's like, yeah. And we don't stop enough and just sit and be like, yeah, we shouldn't have been able to make it, but we made it. Right. So on one end, if that's what you value success, but for me, what I value success is, and this is something I've learned later in life, it's doing whatever the hell I want. And that's what I deem success as an artist. Being able to do the projects I want, being able to try to tell the stories I want to tell, though I'm not always successful in getting it done. It's like I choose to spend my time doing that. It's I love entertaining crowds. I love hosting events. I love hosting shows. So it's like I get to do everything I do brings me joy, and I chose to do that. I woke up and chose to do that today. So that's doing whatever the hell you want to do is what I deem to be successful. Hey, what up? It's your boy Andrew Phung, and you are watching Customatic TV.